launches investigation into the death of a woman who was fatally struck by a falling palm tree in Handytown, Fuyaman District, Lower Bon County. And away from Liberia, U.S. Federal Appeals Court orders the Trump administration to halt construction of a proposed 400 million US dollars ballroom at the White House, ruling that the project cannot proceed without congressional approval. The news bulletin, the voices of those making the news exposed, are all packaged on today's presentation. But first is Arunan Kobugi and the news bulletin. Arunan, good evening.
Good evening, Mandy, and good evening, Liberians. President Joseph Boakai has reiterated his administration's commitment to fighting drug trafficking and organized crime across Liberia. Speaking Thursday during the commissioning of 17 judiciary officers, President Boakai said the recent arrests, dismissals, suspensions, and investigations are part of a serious national effort and are not politically motivated. The president said the government's actions are aimed at protecting Liberians, strengthening state institutions, dismantling criminal networks, and restoring public confidence in the rule of law. Boakai warned drug traffickers and anyone using Liberia as a transit point for illegal drugs that they will be identified, pursued, arrested, and persecuted in accordance with the law. President Boakai called on the newly commissioned judges and court officers to uphold justice with integrity, fairness, and independence. The president stressed that the rule of law is essential for national development and governance. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Information, has announced increased support for more than 90 prosecutors as part of ongoing effort to strengthen the country's justice system. Speaking at the Ministry of Information's regular press briefing, Deputy Information Minister for Press and Public Affairs Daniel Sando said prosecutors will receive improved logistical support, including transportation and other essential resources. Sando said the initiative recognizes the dedication of prosecutors, many of whom have served for years, including some who worked on a voluntary basis. He noted that the support is intended to improve the administration of justice and enable prosecutors to perform their duties effectively and without fear or favor. Meanwhile, Sando announced that the Ministry of Education is working with schools feeding partners to ensure the successful implementation of the government expanded school feeding program nationwide. He said the government's long-term goal is to provide daily meals to pupils in every public primary school to improve attendance, enhance learning, and promote the well-being of children. The Liberian National Police has launched an investigation into the death of a woman who was fatally struck by a falling palm tree in Handytown, Fuama District, Lower Bon County. The deceased, identified as Gotor Moluang, reportedly died instantly after a dry palm tree cut down by her husband fell on her while the couple was working on their family farm. Police have taken the woman's husband, 44-year-old Kofa Moluang, into custody for questioning as investigators work to determine the circumstances surrounding the incident. According to the police, Moluang told investigators that he and his wife had gone to their cassava farm to harvest food for their children. He said after harvesting cassava, he asked his wife to return to the nearby kitchen to get a bag. He explained that he later decided to cut down a dry palm tree believed to contain bamboo worms, but after the tree fell, he heard a loud sound and discovered his wife trapped beneath the trunk. The Liberian National Police, working with local authorities in Fuama District, has authorized the burial of the deceased while the investigation continues. The founder and chief executive officer of Digital Liberia Incorporated, Sullivan Dobla, says transforming Liberia's digital landscape requires information technology specialists to identify and develop the potential of young Liberians. Speaking during an interview on Truth FM on Friday, August 7, 2026, Doble announced plans by Digital Liberia Incorporated to train and empower young people with digital skills, including coding, database analysis, and other technological related areas. He said practical digital training will help improve the knowledge and opportunities of young people while ushering stronger partnership with high schools and higher institutions of learning to promote digital education. Doble further disclosed that although Digital Liberia Incorporated has faced serious challenges, support from the private sector and the national government has contributed to efforts aimed at improving Liberia's digital space. The youth chair of the GSA Rule Block A1 community, Lotkere Morwe, is calling on the government of Liberia to address growing security, sanitation, and drugs-related challenges affecting residents of the community. Speaking to reporters on Friday, August 7, 2026, Morwe said the community is facing serious problems that require urgent government intervention. He identified poor waste disposal, limited security presence, and drugs abuse among the major challenges affecting residents and hindering the community's development. Morwe expressed concern that inadequate garbage collection has created unhealthy living conditions, while raising security concerns are causing fear among residents. He called for increased police presence and stronger community policy efforts to help reduce crime and improve safety in the area. Morwe also urged the government and community leaders to work together in educating young people about the dangers of drugs abuse and providing rehabilitation support for those affected. The Unity Party coordinator for Nimba County, Alexin Zinama, has criticized the reported payment of USD 10,000 to each of the county's 9 lawmakers, describing it as a misuse of public funds meant for the people of Nimba County. Speaking in an interview, Ziname alleged that the payment was approved by the county administration and the county council without proper justification, insisting the money should have been used for development projects. He also accused the Nimba County Council of operating outside the law, claiming some members have remained in office beyond their legal tenure, thereby undermining transparency and accountability. The Unity Party official said Nimba residents voted for change and good governance, not the alleged misuse of county resources. He warned that such actions could damage the party's image ahead of the 2029 general elections. Ziname called for the immediate recovery of the funds and urged authorities to prosecute anyone found responsible for the alleged misappropriation in keeping with the law. A former member of the Coalition for Democratic Change, George Dankawan, has questioned calls for the return of former President George Weah, alleging what Weah neglected his responsibility while serving as president. Dankawan, who recently pledged his support to the ruling Unity Party, said he swift alliance because of what he described as the government's effort to improve the lives of Liberians. Speaking Thursday at the Center for Exchange and Intellectual Opinion in Monrovia, Dankawan accused former President Weah of focusing on producing music, while many Liberians continue to face poverty during his administration. He argued that if the former president was unable to deliver on his promises during his 6 years in office, there is little reason to believe he would perform differently if given another opportunity. Dakowan also described the Weah Taylor administration as missed opportunity, claiming if thus it failed to improve the lives of many CDC supporters and Liberians. Liberian American historian and writer Reverend Sando Morris has described his new book, The Untold Narratives, as an effort to reclaim Liberia's history and highlight the country's deep connection with the Christian faith. Speaking in an interview on Friday, August 7, Reverend Morris said the book presents what he believes are untold aspects of Liberian history, which says were revealed to him through divine inspiration. He explained that he spent more than 23 years researching and reflecting on Liberia's past, adding that the book focuses on lessons from history rather than simply recording data and events. Reverend Morris said the untold narrative is intended to help Liberians better understand their history and use those lessons to build a stronger future. Meanwhile, Reverend Morris described Liberia as a resilient nation that survived numerous challenges during the colonial era. He encouraged Liberians to draw inspiration from the country's history as they work toward greater national progress. And as well, a U.S. federal appeals court has ordered the Trump administration to halt construction of a proposed $400 million ballroom at the White House, ruling that the project cannot proceed without congressional approval. In a 2-1 decision, the court upheld a preliminary injunction obtained by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, which challenged the demolition of the White House East Wing to make way for the project. The judges ruled that decisions involving major reconstruction of the White House rest with Congress, stating that no president has unlimited authority to redesign or rebuild the executive residence. The court emphasized that the White House belongs to the American people and serves both current and future presidents, noting that each president is only a temporary occupant of the historical property. President Donald Trump has rejected the ruling and vowed to appeal to the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, Menso is back to you for the continuation of Blaze News Point.
Arunan Kobogate with the news bulletin is indeed regular featured on Blaze News Point. For new, fast, factual, and always up to date, you are just in tune to Blaze News Point. Here are the big stories topping the headlines. President Joseph Boakai reiterates his administration commitment to fighting drug trafficking and organized crime across Liberia. The government of Liberia announces increased support for more than 90 prosecutors as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's justice system. Liberia National Police launches investigation into the death of a woman who was fatally struck by a falling palm tree in Handy Town, Fuyaman District, Lower Bon County. And away from Liberia, U.S. Federal Appeals Court orders the Trump administration to halt construction of a proposed $400 million ballroom at the White House, ruling that the project cannot proceed without congressional approval. The voices of those making the news and sports are still ahead, but this break, Toby right back. Welcome back to Blaze News Point. We don't take our first development. President Joseph Boakai has reiterated his administration commitment to fighting drug trafficking and organized crime across Liberia. Speaking Thursday during the commissioning of 17 judicial officers, President Boakai said the recent arrests, dismissals, suspensions, and investigations as part of a serious national effort and are not politically motivated. The president said the government actions are aimed at protecting Liberians, strengthening state institutions, dismantling criminal networks, and restoring public confidence in the rule of law.
Today marks an important milestone in our collective effort to strengthen the institution upon which our democracy rests. It is my distinct honor to commission the new cadre of judges and court martials. The recent assaults, dismissals, suspensions, and investigations involving individuals connected to narcotic traffic and other criminal activities are not isolated actions. They are not politically motivated, nor are they intended to create headlines. They represent a determined national effort to defend the Liberian people, protect our institutions, dismantle criminal cartels, and resolve conflict in our rule of law. And let me be clear and absolute. To those who seek to bring illegal drugs into Liberia to destroy the lives of our young people, let them hear me today. To those who believe Liberia can be used as a transit point for international culture traffic, let them hear me as well. To those who believe that their positions, influence, wealth, or authority places them beyond the reach of justice, claim your ears and hear me today. Well and be warned. We will identify you, we will pursue you, we will find you, and we will deal with you in accordance with the rule of law. There will be no sacred cows in this Joseph Remark Walker. No one who engages in criminal activity will be permitted to hide behind poverty, public office, political influence, business interests, their family connections, or any other position of authority. So whether you're a government official, a law enforcement officer, a businessman, a custom broker, or an ordinary citizen, the law must apply equally to everyone. This is the Liberia we are determined to build. With hard work and determination, the good in us, we're trying what is good. But government cannot win the fight alone. Law enforcement agencies may investigate, prosecutors may prosecute, yet justice cannot be complete without a judiciary that acts with patriotism, courage, integrity, competence, and dispatch. The recent
President Boakai called on the newly commissioned judges and court officers to uphold justice with integrity, fairness, and independence. The president stressed that the rule of law is essential for national development, economic growth, security, and democratic governance.
Today marks an important milestone in our collective effort to strengthen the institution upon which our democracy rests. It is my distinct honor to commission the new cadre of judges and court marshals who have been entrusted with one of the most sacred responsibilities in our democratic society: fair, impartial, faithful administration of justice, keep the love of our arrest agenda, and inclusive government. I congratulate each of you on your appointment and urge you to recognize the office being out assumed is not merely a position. Every decision you make, every case you hear, every action you take will either strengthen or weaken the confidence of the Liberian people in our justice system. The judiciary is one of the three co-equal branches of government. Its independence is guaranteed by our Constitution, but so too is its responsibility to uphold justice without fear or favor. A nation cannot prosper where the rule of law is weak. Investors lose confidence, citizens lose hope, criminals become emboldened, institutions deteriorate. This is why strengthening the rule of law remains one of the central pillars of my administration, Arrest agenda for inclusive development. Economic growth, national security, social stability, democratic governance all depend upon justice system that is credible, efficient, and accessible to every Liberian, regardless of gender, wealth, or political affiliation. The executive branch of this country will never be intimidated to act in the interest of people within the rule of law. Today marks an important milestone in our collective effort.
That's the voice of President Joseph Boakai calling on the newly commissioned judges and court officers to uphold justice with integrity, fairness, and independence. He is also reiterating his administration commitment to fighting drug trafficking and organized crime across Liberia. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Information, has announced increased support for more than 90 prosecutors as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's justice system. Speaking at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing, the Deputy Information Minister for Press and Public Affairs, Daniel Santos, said prosecutors will receive improved logistical support, including transportation and other essential resources. Santos said the initiative recognizes the dedication of prosecutors, many of whom have served for years, including some who work on a voluntary basis.
2026, over 90 prosecutors across Liberia who are not been on government payroll will be placed on the government payroll, as the Ministry of Justice has already secured funding to give the prosecutors what they rightfully deserve. The Ministry of Justice and Attorney General Counsel N. Oxford noted that the decision is triggered by the government's commitment to strengthen the country's justice system and recognizing the dedication and sacrifices of prosecutors who have served the ministry for years on a voluntary basis without receiving salary. He emphasized the importance of administering justice without fear or favor and reassured all prosecutors that despite the many challenges confronting the justice sector, the government remains committed to addressing those obstacles through meaningful reforms. Lepiso in Grand Cape County is poised to become Liberia's first special tourism economic zone following the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Liberia Special Economic Zone Authority and the Liberia National Tourism Authority aimed at developing the landmark ecotourism project. The agreement signed this week establishes a framework for collaboration between the two institutions to promote sustainable tourism investment, environmental conservation, economic growth, and community development through a dedicated ecotourism special economic zone. The initiative aligns with the government of Liberia's Arrest agenda for inclusive development, which seeks to stimulate private sector investment, create employment opportunities, empower local communities, and promote environmentally sustainable economic development. The Liberia Special Economic Zone Authority will also coordinate investment incentives, facilitate infrastructure development, and provide a one-stop investment platform designed to simplify processes for prospective investors, while the Liberia National Tourism Authority will be responsible for regulating tourism standards within the zone. Beginning August 2026,
Meanwhile, Sandwell announced that the Ministry of Education is working with school feeding partners to ensure the successful implementation of the government expanded school feeding program nationwide. He said the government long-term goal is to provide daily meals to pupils in every public primary school to improve attendance, enhance learning, and promote the well-being of children.
the minister noted that the government made a commitment to the global school feeding program. At the Liberia feed 40% of its primary boarding school children. As a result of this commitment, the Ministry of Education mobilized all of Liberia's school feeding implementers and share with the school feeding expansion plan. We are planning to feed all schools by 2029, 332,000 plus students across public schools. Also, the Ministry of Education, in partnership with UN Women Liberia, invites girls and young women between the ages of 15 to 24 to apply for the Liberia Girl Can Code Initiative Pilot Coding Camp 2026. The initiative will provide 250 participants from Lofa, Bong, McGibby, Grand Bassa, and Maryland counties with training in coding, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, digital entrepreneurship, and leadership. Participants will also receive mentorship from women working in science, technology, engineering, and the field of mathematics. No previous coding experience is required. Applicants only need curiosity, commitment, and interest in developing digital skills. The program will run for approximately 6 to 8 months and will include a 10-day intensive boot camp. Applications may also be submitted through the Ministry of Education county office in each of the participating counties. Finally, with the Ministry of Education invites qualified young Liberians between the ages of 18 to 35 to apply as fee monitoring interns on the public school monitoring projects. Selected interns will support school monitoring, geo-mapping, school quality assessment, back to my classroom activities, and adult literacy monitoring using approved digital tools. The minister noted that the government made a commitment to the global school field.
That's the voice of Deputy Information Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Daniel Sando, revealing that prosecutors will receive improved logistical support, including transportation and other essential services. And at the same time, announcing that the Ministry of Education is working with school feeding partners to ensure the successful implementation of the government-expanded school feeding program nationwide. And at the same time, announcing increased support for more than 90 prosecutors as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's justice system. The Liberian National Police has launched an investigation into the death of a woman who was fatally shot by a fallen palm tree in Handy Town, Fuyama District, Lower Bon County. The deceased, identified as Guato Molunyan, reportedly died instantly after a giant palm tree cut down by her husband fell on her while the couple was working on their family farm. Muluya told investigators that he and his wife had gone to their cassava farm to harvest food for their children, during which time the incident occurred.
Most especially the roof of the marketplaces and floor, because we don't have good drainage. Some people places certain distances they don't do it, but they rather put it in the drainage. So we need officials within the community to help us material that we will do some drainage cleaning and other things. And you see the sanitation aspect, we are facing a lot of challenges. So see our best as the youth of this community gather that we will do some cleanup campaign. In the aspect, we are coming up with a community wash team, but we want it to be legal. So I would rather a proposal to our district representative, which is represent us, to see our best to approve of us coming up with material that we will campaign. We got a diet, we had a meeting. Yeah, there is a benefit and there will be a benefit because a lot of schools sending in scholarship form for those parents that are not capable of our health sectors, or we have a form for people that are not able to send children to school this academic year. Majority of our sisters and brothers that are involved within drugs, these are people who grew up with being involved into drugs. It's kind of heartbreaking. Since I have been the youth, to do is to write a proposal to those officials that are within our community, like to avoid future embarrassment. Because if we don't do it, tomorrow they will be the same people that will think against us. That know the stealing and the armed robbery, they will be the same people because they want to support their happy. So if we don't do anything now, it will be a future embarrassment to us tomorrow. I'm seeing improvement within our community, education for our people and business, but most especially the roof of the marketplaces. And
well, we sincerely apologize for bringing you that wrong excerpt. Let us not take this development. The former member of the Coalition for Democratic Change, George Dangwa, has questioned calls for the return of former President George Weah, alleging that Weah neglected his responsibilities while serving as president. Dankwart, who recently pledged his support to the ruling Unity Party, said he switched allegiance because of what he described as the government efforts to improve the lives of Liberians. Speaking Thursday at the Center for the Change in Intellectual Opinion in Monrovia, Dankwart accused former President Weah of focusing on producing music while many Liberians continue to face poverty during his administration. Well, we sincerely apologize. We cannot bring you that episode. We hope to bring it in our subsequent newscast. The Unity Party coordinator for Nima County, Alison Zembe, has criticized the reported payment of US 10,000 to each of the county's non-lawmakers, describing it as a misuse of public funds meant for the people of Nima County. Speaking in an interview, Zembe alleged that the payment was approved by the county administration and the county council without proper justification, insisting that money should have been used for development projects. He also accused the Nema County Council of operating outside the law, claiming that some members have remained in office beyond their legal tenure, thereby undermining transparency and accountability.
Nima, with the Nima County people's money. What is that I'm hearing? Just yesterday, superintendent called me up and go, no, presiding over our money and pushing it overnight on lawmakers with she and her so-called non-man council. But in Nima County, we get 7-man council operating illegally. The law says 30 days. After, you should do what? The other two or the other one, they should be replaced. But right now in Nima, 2 years, we still operating illegally with 7-man council. There's not what we can pay for. We took the sun, we took the rain, we took the mud. We went all over in Nima to campaign for change. We didn't campaign for Susu. We didn't campaign for Susu, man. We will not stay here and keep our mouths closed so that tomorrow, start to judge us. 2028, 2029, the same face will soon be coming to you, the electors, to vote for Unity Party, Joseph Yuma Bwaka. The few group of people around here, they want to spoil our name for tomorrow. We say no. The people's money. Come here, you and your so-called caucus members, y'all please bring it back. It must be remitted. We will run after you. We're not just run after you, but guess what? We will grab you. We will prosecute you. Misappropriation and corruption. I can them money, na susu money. For no be talking say, oh, me wanna be susu pa. They all wanna be susu song. They all wanna be susu ma. Oh, so send the market money na susu na. The susu ma ya to be sharing or susu tray. We say no to that. Let our money be used for the intended purpose. Nima money should not be given to lawmaker for legislative engagement. It is wrong. It should not happen. We put in Susu in Nima with the Nima County people's money. What is that I'm hearing? Just yesterday, superintendent.
That's the voice of the Unity Party coordinator for Nima County, Alison Zembe, criticizing the reported payment of US 10,000 to each of the county's non-lawmakers, describing it as a misuse of public funds meant for the people of Nima County. Well, at this juncture, we now go to Studio B, where Luke Joy is seated with the passion of last post. Luke, good evening.
Good evening, Mandy. Painesville FC has secured a one-season sponsorship deal with Starbell Liberia ahead of the 2026-2027 football season. The agreement will see the Starbell logo feature on the club jersey, training kits, and social media platform. Both Painesville FC and Starbell Liberia describe the partnership as a major step towards supporting youth and strengthening the club preparation for the new season. The second edition of the Better Mark Cup will kick off on Wednesday, August 12, 2026, with the introduction of a women tournament for the first time. 4 clubs, Determined Girl FC, War Girls FC, Bourgeois Queen FC, and Senior Female Professional, will compete for the championship and 6,000 grand prize. The opening matches will feature Determined Girls against War Girl at 2 o'clock p.m. at Tusa Field, followed by Bourgeois Queen versus Senior Female Professionals at 4 o'clock p.m. at the same venue, making a major mainstream for women football in Liberia. Lastly, Watanka Football Club has expressed disappointment after being excluded from the official draw from the 2026-2027 CAF Champions League despite winning the Liberia 4th Division League. The club says it fulfilled all registration requirements communicated by the Liberian Football Association and was never informed of any problem before the official CAF draw. Watanka is now calling on the Liberian Football Association to explain its conclusion, release the findings of its investigation, and seek an remedy if the club is found not to be responsible. That's post-Midi.
Many thanks to Luke Jode for the passing of last post. Indeed, a regular featured on Blaze News Point. We don't take more development. The Liberia National Police has launched an investigation into the death of a woman who was fatally struck by a falling palm tree in Handytown, Fuyaman District, Lower Bon County. The deceased, identified as Guatod Manuyan, reportedly died instantly after a dried palm tree cut down by a horseman fell on her while the couple was working on their family farm. Manuya told investigators that he and his wife has gone to the cassava farm to harvest food for their children, during which time the incident occurred.
Say no to that. Let our
the oven very die, very near the water. We plan to come point out to come put fire in the oven. So on our way coming, we'll pick up 3 of our children. 3. I only 4, my wife 5. So after we look at the oven condition. There was no way for us to put fire. So we decide to sleep. The next day we put the fire. We put the week up and put the fire. Which is yesterday. So yesterday, early in the morning, I was not well. So that I wake up my 2 boy children to open the oven. They open it, they start doing the big of it. I was still lying now. Then the woman wake up, she look for medicine. Sorry, they can't trace me medicine. And I think that medicine, the children working hard. I said, I wake up, I put in glass, I pour the glass, we pour the fire, we choke it. But then the smoke was coming off. But at that time, the children were tired, hungry. So I must say, oh, but then, the children hungry, but then they'll go find food for them. We start digging the cassava. After we dug the cassava plenty, or they plenty. He say, oh, but then try to call plantage, you plant caja. Don't put the cassava inside. I say, no, the cassava be clean, the cassava clean, and then put in caja. Just 5 minutes, you go to the kitchen, go tell the children, and come here, bring bear, put the cassava inside. So I listen, you put the wood. I start cutting the pan lower down. After cutting the pan lower down, I only hear the sound. After it dry down, I only hear the sound. I said, well, the sound, I never been a door. But what kind of sound here? For me to wash out it, no? And before we would carry our big daughter was to the kitchen, she knew about coming. You saw the direction she went in. Now, the sea room, on the side, I get pan cutting room on the side. So, and I see room we came in, and I see room she took. And myself, my attention was on us now. After she bent it, they care about them, my attention was on the pan, so all I thought, I saw her go, I saw her, but because she and myself was saying that, yeah, dog the light as is off. She was very, she even made a way to far behind the pan law to come to me. So when I did the cassava, she and carry she packing. I was happy. The oven very die, very near the water.
That's the husband of the late Guatod Manuyan that's reporting to journalists after the death of his wife, who died when the falling palm tree struck her in Handytown, Fuyama District, Lower Bonk County. Today's development, Liberian American historian and writer Reverend Sandro Morris has described his new book, The Untold Narratives, as an effort to reclaim Liberia's history and highlight the country's deep connection with the Christian faith. Speaking in an interview on Friday, August 7, Reverend Morris said the book presents what he believes as untold aspects of Liberian history, which he says were revealed to him through divine inspiration.
Like I said, I just give an example of the survivor. We survived to incursion on our land. British always intruded on Liberian territory. The British tried to trade with my people. I wrote this book because I believe it was an assignment as a preacher. I believe it was a call from God to recapture our story. Our story is the story of the church. God's hands was meticulously involved with Liberia, the formation of Liberia, bringing Liberia to where it is today. So I believe our story must be told. The untold narrative, because Liberia, if you look at Liberia just with a single narrative, it will be distorted. Yeah. So Liberia is actually a global story. It must be looked at from a global perspective. Well, the history matters in the sense that with history, you learn the good, the bad, the ugly, and all in between. And so with the story of Liberia, you learn about the good aspect of Liberia, our forefathers. You learn to where we come from. You have to know where you come from in order for you to know where you're going. So the records are there. I presented the record to Liberia, and now you can forge what is next. Forge an identity. So if you don't know where you come from, you not know your identity.
That's the voice of Liberian American historian and writer Reverend Sando Morris describing his new book, The Untold Narratives, as an effort to reclaim Liberia's history and highlight the country's deep connection with the Christian faith. The founder and chief executive officer of Digital Liberia Incorporated, Sullivan Doblas, says transforming Liberia's digital landscape requires transformation that's information technology specialists to identify and develop the potential of young Liberians. Speaking during an interview on True FN on Friday, August 7, Dobla announced plans by Digital Liberia Incorporated to train and empower young people with digital skills, including coding, database analysis, and other technology-related areas.
Digital standpoint is to see how we can uniquely identify every Liberian. It is one of our interests, interests we have. We within our platform and our operational scope, we also have what we call a learning curve program that has to do with apprentice or internship. Currently, we have young people below 23 that fall within our administration that are being trained. We're passing knowledge on to them for the next generation. So we have females. Okay. I'm more interested to have females who are able to do coding, programming. Mm-hmm. So in different areas, we are training female in database analysis. And the other day, yesterday, I was talking to a female that also came and told her, I hope that you can have an in-depth knowledge or strong knowledge in Excel. If you can understand all the Excel formulas, it will be good for you. So we are hoping that we can have more young people in a space where they can be monitored, they can be supervised, and they can be guided, to be trained practically. I'm talking about hands-on, not just going to the classroom, but getting to the computer and be able to do something with your hands.
And lastly, of the news saying, the youth trade of a GSA Rural Block A1 community located Monway is calling on the government of Liberia to address growing insecurity, sanitation, and drug-related challenges affecting residents of the community. Speaking to reporters on Friday, August 7, 2026, Monway said the community is facing serious problems that requires urgent government intervention. He identified poor waste disposal, limited security presence, and drug abuse among the major challenges affecting residents and hindering the community development.
The roof of the marketplaces and floor, because we don't have good drainage from people places. Instead of 20 distances, they don't do it, but they rather put it in the drainage. So we need officials within the community to help us material that we will do some drainage cleaning and other things. And you see the sanitation aspect, we are facing a lot of challenges. So see our best as the youth of this community gather that we will do some cleanup campaign. In the aspect, we are coming up with a community wash team, but we want it to be legal. So I will write our proposal to our district representative, which is represent us, to see our best to approve of us coming up with material that we will campaign. We got a diet, we had a meeting. There is a benefit and there will be a benefit because a lot of schools sending in scholarship form for those parents that are not capable of our health sectors, or we have a form for people that are not able to send children to school this academic year. Majority of our sisters and brothers that are involved within drugs, these are people who grew up with being involved in the drugs. It's kind of heartbreaking. Since I have been the youth, to do is to write a proposal to those officials that will see our
Well, listeners, on this note, this I would love to come to the end of the Friday, August 7, 2026 edition of Blaze News. We'll go to recap of the major stories. President Joseph Boakai reiterates his administration commitment to fighting drug trafficking and organized crime across Liberia. Government of Liberia announces increased support for more than 90 prosecutors as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's justice system. Liberia National Police launches investigation into the death of a woman who was fatally struck by a fallen palm tree in Houndy Town, Friaman District, Lower Bon County. And away from Liberia, U.S. Federal Appeals Court orders the Trump administration to halt construction of a proposed $400 million US ballroom at the White House, ruling that the project cannot proceed without congressional approval. We say many thanks to our news director, reporter, editor, and correspondent for making this edition of Blaze News Point of Sources. Arinan Kobogi brought you the news bulletin. Luke Joe brought you the passion of last post. Clifton Renensela controlled and coordinated this presentation. Blaze News Point will take its usual weekend break to return on Monday, August 10, 2026 at 7 a.m. On behalf of the News and Current Affairs Department of Blaze Communications Network Incorporated, my name is Menso Mendid. I present a good evening and have yourself a pleasant weekend from Painesville.